Hello, welcome to another episode of Aunt Anne's Tree. Today we are going to make a beautiful, I hope it's a new design. We're going to make a really sweet little penguin Valentine ornament. And so let's get started. I have to click buttons now. Hey, I also added chat back in because I realized last week that on YouTube it looks like I'm just talking to myself. So I put chat back on the screen. So you're welcome to chat if you want. So let's get started. Here is the cutout of our cute little penguin. I have already designed the pattern and it was so much fun to make. I tell you, there's a funny story while I adjust the camera here. Funny story behind this. I started to make a little Valentine cat. I thought, oh, how cute. I'll just make a little Valentine cat with a cute little heart on its chest and everything. And then I realized that I didn't quite like the ears and I didn't quite like the way I couldn't figure out a tail. Oh, that's a little dark. Let me fix that camera. I didn't like the way the tail was working out. And so I said, you know what? I'll cut off the ears and let's make a penguin. So that's what I decided to do. So let's get started. Today I am drinking Land O'Lakes raspberry hot cocoa. I've had this before. I love it. It's so tasty. And I thought I'd pair that with some yummy lemon cake. So I've got a slice of lemon cake from my local grocery store that if you are not a Publix fan of their bakery, oh my goodness, they have some great baked goods there. So that's a treat for me. I don't usually have that. You can see here my pattern starting out had a little kitty face on it. Let's see if I can get that up there. I have moved back into my stream studio for this. I was working in my craft studio last week, but realized that it was a pain in the tuchus to move back and forth between all the cameras and the laptop and microphone, and I was running out of USB hubs, and oh my goodness, it was a pain. So I decided to just stay in here and work here. I will be using my hot glue gun, and I did remember this week to plug it in. Okay, so what I'm using for this little design is some dark gray, and I didn't use black. I did use black for the Christmas ornament, the penguin Christmas ornament, but I like the dark gray because I kind of like the way that looks a little countrified. So I'm using dark gray for its body, and then instead of using white, I'm using a lighter gray as the overlay, and we'll be sewing that over the top before we do the whole body. And then over the top of that, I decided to make a big old heart with maybe a bow in the middle. I was thinking about adding sequins to this, sequins and beads to give it a little bling, but I thought, no, I like the very country look of it. We won't be using those yet. Okay, let's get sewing. Once again, I'm using DMC floss, coordinating the colors between the floss and the felt. Some people like to use alternating colors or contrasting colors with when they make these ornaments to show the stitches. I'm very proud of my stitches. I think that I'm a good stitcher, but I decided I'd rather show off the design than the stitches. So I try to use floss, embroidery floss that is similar or complementary in color to the felt. Let me know if the music is too loud. I turned it up a little bit last week, so it was a little quiet. Once again, if you're a patron of Qyjari's Curious Crafts, that link is below. If you're not, you're welcome to join our Dragonkin family. You will have access to the patterns of the ornaments that I make here on Aunt Anne's Tree. They are not available anywhere else unless you are a patron of Nerdsmith, because they have some of my exclusive patterns also. When I say exclusive, some patterns are only available over on Nerdsmith, but the rest are available here on my Discord if you are a patron, Elder Plus or higher. I'm also running a contest, but that's more for my D&D followers. A pledge drive, as it were, to try to get more patrons. That seems to be the best way to support Qyjari's Curious Crafts, is through Patreon. More bang for my buck there than on Twitch. I do love my Twitch subs. It's a great way to support, but pennies per dollar, it's really better over on Patreon. Plus you get all the benefits. You get greeting cards, and depending on the level you sign up, other benefits as well. So I'm just doing a running stitch around the heart. Usually when I do any stitch that's on the interior of the ornament, it is a running stitch. And that's just a basic in and out stitch. Probably the very first stitch that you would learn in any sewing class. And stitches are, I don't know, an eighth, maybe an eighth gap between them, and then a little bit bigger than an eighth. As you go around, I try to keep them consistent. Hey Blizzard, what's going on? I'm so glad I put chat back up on the screen. I didn't have it on last week. Honestly, I didn't really figured people would want to they want to chat. They'd want to just kind of hang out and watch. And I rewatched last week's episode and realized that on YouTube, without the chat there, it looks like I'm just talking to myself. I'm doing great. The sun is trying to peek out. It's been rainy and overcast and cold here. Well, I say cold. It snowed last Saturday here. There was snow on the ground. It is a perfect time for a stream. If you're into ornaments, crafting ornaments. There was snow on the ground last Saturday, and then yesterday it got to 73 Fahrenheit. So I think winter is drunk. At least here in the States. So I am making a series of Valentine designs, and I thought I would decorate a little bit. You see my little glitter Valentine hearts around. And I also thought that I would finish the month out doing other Valentine ornaments. So in addition to the bear from last week and this week's penguin, I need some other suggestions for Valentine's ornaments. I know some people, I know my mom especially, every season or every holiday, major, minor, puts up a small tree and decorates it. So I guess it's not unheard of to have some ornaments from other seasons. And I have started working on Halloween ornaments, because I guess those are really big. People are putting together Halloween trees. So I thought I'd finish out the month with some Valentine ornaments, and I need some suggestions for ornaments that are Valentine-y. Valentine-y, is that a word? I thought, what if I did a pizza ornament similar to the one I make for the Christmas holiday, and then advertise it with heart-shaped pepperoni on it, and then say, "Happy Valentine's Day, you have a pizza, my heart." No? Is that terrible? That's terrible. It's a terrible pun. Liz, can you hear me okay over the music? I turned the music up a little bit. It seemed a little too quiet last week, so I turned it up, but I don't want to... Yeah, oh no. It's a terrible pun. I didn't want to have to shout over the music, but I also wanted the music to be in the background chilling with us. So this heart doesn't have to be stuffed with any polyfill or anything, so I'm just going to go all the way around with this running stitch. And then I'll add the other parts to this layer, which is the beak and the eyes, and then also the entire section to the top, the first layer of the body. Doesn't look like a penguin now, but it will, I promise. Or at least a facsimile thereof. We've been great. We've been awesome. We're looking forward to this coming week because it is winter break for the kiddos out of school. They have a winter break right around President's Day. And so it's a 3-day weekend for Crow, and it's a full week off for the kids and me. Clover is going skiing with her youth church group for the first part of the week. Whoops. But after that, it's just going to be a nice chill week of not doing much. We've been playing as a family, the 4 of us have been playing Raft, and it's been hysterical. Oh, you're off next week too. Nice. See? Probably not for President's Day though, right? You're probably not off for President's Day. Okay, so I finished going around with that running stitch there. I'm just going to tie that off with a knot. I was always taught growing up, my Nana was the one, my mother's mother was the one who taught me a lot of the crafting skills that I know, and she once said that and I'm sure she heard this from someone else because it is a common thing back then, that you always want to make the back of your project as neat and tidy as the front. And even though there's a couple of knots there, you can see that there's no loose knots or kind of awkward pulls and things like that. And I know no one will see it, but it makes me feel better. Okay, I don't know why I knotted that. I don't need any more of that floss. So I will toss that and save that for another project. Okay, so let's get the beak on there. The penguin that I make for the Christmas holiday has detailed embroidery on the front of him. He's holding, or her, they're holding a string of Christmas lights in some, I should have gotten it out to show everybody, a string of Christmas lights in some greenery, and I hand embroider all of that. There might be some available on my Etsy shop still, but I use a bright yellow beak for that one because it's more primary colors, and I wanted this one to be a little more muted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this little piece that I've made here out of tan felt. I'm just going to fold it not quite in half, give him a little underbite there, and I'm just going to sew that on with the fold, again with the running stitch. Oh, thank you. I had a successful season last winter on Etsy and at local craft shows, and my plan was to make double the inventory for this coming season, so I have my work cut out for me, but I want to make new patterns. I want to make new designs. So I've come up with a few new designs and getting some Halloween ornaments done, and that's been fun, coming up with different ideas. Yeah, wait till you get, I don't know where you are on the current season of Critical Role, but oh man, not, I think it's the episode Misery Loves Company. It was just, the ending was just phenomenal of that episode. I won't spoil it. It was so good. It was the kind that made you cheer at the end, that you couldn't believe it happened. Well, there we go. Those are those kinds of knots I was saying that earlier, how I want to avoid having those in the back. Mostly because if they ever find themselves coming loose, that means the thread on the top will become loose and not look as nice either. I don't remember what number it is, but I think it's called Misery Loves Company. It's not this past Thursdays, but the week before. I think it's near the 100s. I can't remember. I don't look at the episode numbers because I try to keep up. I try to keep up with it so I don't get on Twitter and get spoilers. I hate spoilers. Okay, so there's this little beacon. That's the only thing you need this color thread for. So I'm gonna wrap this floss up and let's get his eyes on there. You know what? I'm gonna wait and put the eyes on when it's attached to this one, because that just gives another layer of fabric to hold them together, and that makes the eyes a little more sturdy. So I'm gonna wait on that, but I am gonna sew this part onto the top part of the body. Thank you. I have not made this one before, so this isn't, except for cutting it out. I've made a penguin, like I said, but I've never made this particular one, so we'll see how it turns out. Hopefully I won't break my record of making sellable ornaments. I was debating on whether to leave them up on Etsy all year round, but I actually sold 3 holiday ornaments last month. So wow, that customer is planning ahead for the Christmas season. Then I thought, well, maybe they're buying it for Easter, because it was a sheep and the Holy Family and I can't remember the other one. But no, when they left a review, they said they can't wait to see it on their tree this year. Wow. They are planning ahead. I'm not that organized. But I like to have some unusual. Thank you. I like to have some unusual ornaments, not the typical things. So I'm looking for some ideas to make some cute but unusual ones. Like I have an avocado, I have a bacon. The bacon one has been one of my best sellers over the years. I want to make more gingerbread. Currently I have a gingerbread hula dancer, and that's been a big seller throughout the years, and I need to come up with another idea for the gingerbread to have a different job. For example, previous years I've made a gingerbread chef. Did you really? That's awesome. What kind of things do you put on your Christmas tree? Just some baubles, or just lights, or do you go the ornament route? Do you pick one out every year that's different? The ornaments in my family started with my Nana. She made one for every member of the family throughout the years until it got to be too much for her to handle, and she started making them just for her children, and then realized that when their children had children, wouldn't it be nice to then send them off when they went out on their own with a box of handmade ornaments to start their own tree, much like you just did. So she started making them for their children, and then by the time we had children, she was still making them. I think she was up to 3 dozen. I have a big family. And then it just got to be too much, and I don't blame her. She's passed away now. So I kind of took over from my immediate family and made them for my kids. So when Drake and Del Mori and their older brother left the house to go off on their own, well, when Drake does, he'll have his. But they have their own, they got their own little box of handmade ornaments that they got to decorate their tree with. Starting out, they had some memories from home to have with them when they went off on their own. And my little ones are collecting theirs every year for when they leave. Oh, a narwhal would be so cute. A stegosaurus. Oh my gosh. Oh, what a great idea. I think I need to make a dragon. What do you think if I made some D&D themed Christmas ornaments? I'm gonna hold this up right here and let it twist because it's becoming very twisted. I can make a dragon or a beholder. That would be fun. And then people may not just buy them for Christmas, they could buy them for other reasons as well. I do like the Valentine's pizza. I think I'll do that, but I need another suggestion too for because this February is a longer February than normal. Okay, so yeah, you're still 20 episodes out. You'll enjoy it. I have free shipping to in the States, but I don't have free shipping to Canada, but I do ship. It's through Etsy, so it's through their site. Well, I have a knot. Oh, I got it. Woo! Oh, do you? Okay, all right. Maybe I should make some more sweetheart ones then. I thought about maybe for the summer making an ice cream cone, a different one than the ones I've made in the past, something more colorful. I definitely need to make some cupcake ones. I haven't ever made those, so cupcakes, ice cream, but I think those are really more for summer. I had someone from Canada purchase a flamingo ornament, and I believe the shipping was around $10, which didn't seem that much to me, considering I know Canada has some wonky shipping fees. Now, I don't know how that works, if there's issues with paying any kind of taxes like they do in England. When I send gifts over there, they have to pay these taxes. Yeah, a little beholder with a Santa hat, I think that would be cute too. And I think I have an audience for that, definitely, especially around the holidays. People buying it little gifts for their dungeon master or other players. It is good? Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know. It doesn't cost obviously that much to send it in the States, because I put it in a padded envelope that has the sort of the plastic coated so that it's safe from any kind of inclement weather. For ones going, out of the country, and safely wrapped up. But the ones within the States are just in a padded envelope, and I guess it's not the it's just the paper envelope, but the inside, the padding part, is sort of weatherproof because it's plastic. But it doesn't cost. It's only about $4. Yeah, I could put it. I don't have to have this. Maybe I can make the Santa hat removable, and then you could have it up all year, or you could put it on your tree at Christmas time. That would be funny. But a dragon, a beholder, I don't know, what other kind of... Oh, how about a shambling mound with Christmas ornaments on it? Sort of like being resigned to being decorated for the season. That would be funny. This is a very simple ornament to make. It's not complex at all. I have some that are a little tricky, like the... I don't think I have any on my Etsy shop, but I do have some left over from this past season, but I've made peacocks. They're sort of well, maybe I do, I can't remember. Blue and bright green, almost as green as this, my Surebonder over here color. Yeah, oh, that'd be fun. A gelatinous cube with candy canes and jingle bells inside. That would be funny. Wonder what kind of felt I would use for that. To think of something. I could do that. You're right, absolutely. I'll have to look into that. I do buy that vinyl, heavier weight vinyl that I use for D&D when we play. I've taken some artist tape, I think it's graphic tape, 1/16 inch, and gridded it on the back and then flipped it over, and it's a 1 inch by 1 inch gridded clear mat that you can put over, for example, put it over some red fabric and now your party is standing in gridded lava, or put it over beige fabric and now they're standing over gridded desert. So I have purchased that thicker vinyl before, but I know it comes in all different thicknesses. That you could get some thinner. I could get some thinner stuff to make a gelatinous cube ornament. Ooh, yeah. Hey, that's a good idea. Ow, I just poked myself. I'm not paying attention, I'm looking at chat. But yeah, that's a good idea. Make it glow from the inside. When you're sewing, if you get these knots, they can be tenacious, but you can, if you gently pull on it, it usually comes out. I use, of course, 2 threads of DMC floss. It comes in 6 count thread, and you can use all of it if you want a thicker stitch, but I use 2, so every time I cut a length, usually about 36 inches, a yard, I then divide that into 3s with 2 strands each, so it kind of makes it go further. Still gives it a lot of strength, which you don't really need, because you're not really roughhousing with these ornaments. And then I have more to use. You know what sounds good? I'm going to take a drink from my hot cocoa because I am thirsty. Well, we're going to call that lukewarm cocoa. For his little arms, or flippers, I have decided not to make them 3D, but I'll show you a trick that you can do once it's stuffed to add the flippers onto the front, but still make it look like they were sewn on. You still have to do the stitching part, but it's so much nicer than trying to sew them onto something that's already stuffed. And the reason why you want to wait till it's already stuffed is because of the placement. Sometimes the stuffing makes the ornament a little thicker in spots, and you don't want to then have the additional appendages kind of slink down to the side or cross too far in the front or something. So you kind of want to wait till it's stuffed, but it's hard to sew it onto it once it is stuffed. So I'll show you a trick. Thank you. You drink coffee after work? Doesn't that keep you up, or do you do the decaf? My sleep is so broken that I do everything I can to not disturb it any further. And caffeine, totally. I'm like my mom. You give me too much caffeine and I'm painting the ceiling. Although hot cocoa has caffeine in it, but my bedtime is still hours away, so. Okay, so we are done sewing the little, what do you call it, accent color, I guess, of the front of his little body onto the front, and we're going to add the eyes. And like I said, I waited to add the eyes, the beaded eyes, because I wanted that extra layer of fabric for the thread to go through to hang on to it better. Better? No. To be more secure. Betterer! Ian can't talk today. So let's get those eyes attached. I'm using just black thread. I use 3mm beads for the eyes. I think these are 3mm. Let me see if I can find where's my ruler? I think all I have is yeah, here we go. I think it's, well, no, they look more like 5mm. A little bit bigger. But it's a bigger design, a bigger ornament. Okay. Oh, well, there you go. If it helps, why not? Okay, so here's where I need your input, Liz. I gotta find my other eye, first of all. Oh, here it is. Do you think it would be cute to have them sort of tucked on his beak like that? Well, if it would stop rolling off. Like that. Or should I give him kind of silly, crazy eyes? Crooked like that? Or further apart? What do you think? I don't know if I like the crazy because it is meant to be a sweet Valentine gift. But maybe, would you like them together or apart? I will have a piece of my cake while you let me know your thoughts. Top of the beak? Yeah, I think so too. That's what I did with the other ones, and makes them look a little more small and cute. All right. I like your thinking. Back here. I only brought 2 over to my stream studio, so one fell to the ground. It would be search. I always go in and out the fabric for all of the beads, the eyes, at least 3 times. And even though my ornaments are really not meant for children, and I do put a warning that they do contain small parts that could be a choking hazard, I know that kids can't resist cute little things, especially when they look like stuffed animals. You know, their own little fuzzies that they have at home. So I try to make them as safe as possible. And by sewing them on with three loops, 3 stitches through, that gives their make a little more secure. I've never had any of the small eyes or other beaded parts come off. Now, I don't do that with the sequins because they are so tiny, and that would just take forever when I put so many sequins on. Oh, look at his little face. Yeah, I'm talking from experience. Yeah, my kids have always been very respectful of my ornaments, believe it or not. But, you know, I do things like make sure that I put some of the more delicate ones higher up on the tree and give them ornaments that they can play with. But they're so beyond that age right now. My youngest is going to be 11 soon, so kind of beyond that little baby phase. If they start playing and breaking my ornaments, then they're going to pay me for them. They've got the money. Okay, I still need that for the body. I'm done with this one. And this one's too, I'm not going to try to thread that one. It's not using a lot of that. Okay, so now I'll do this part real quick. This is the part that I was, well, you know what? I could use this little piece because I'm just going to do a running stitch around his little wings. These are the one I was telling you about. I might actually get it around both of them with this little piece left. Waste not, want not. I'm just going to do a running stitch around, and because once it gets sewn to the underside, then these will fit. How did I have it? Here, here, and here, like he's holding the heart. But I want to make it look like it's stitched on, but I can't really stitch it on because it is going to be 3D. It's going to be stuffed. So I'm going to take these and I'm just going to go around. Whoops, after I put a knot in it. That would help. I'm going to put a knot in it and go around each wing. Just a small running stitch, and these are really hard, I know, for you to see, the black thread on this dark gray felt. I'm just going to do a running stitch. Give them one more finished look, even though they're not sewn onto it. And then, excuse me, once this part gets sewn onto the back, I will glue these on with my trusty Surebonder, sponsor us, glue gun. I'm so glad you could join us, Bliz. I know that it's a different time zone for you. And I appreciate that you were able to stop by. I was hoping that would be the case, actually. I do have some friends over in Europe who the noontime means that they're getting home from work and maybe over dinner. I don't know, do you call it dinner there or supper there? Your evening meal. Be fun to just join me and eat your dinner. Yeah, I know the other ones are kind of late, but over here in the States, that's the only chance I have in the evenings is to do it. But yeah, it's kind of about midnight-ish there when I start streaming the other shows. And I wanted to do something in the afternoon for anyone interested. I know that there aren't many crafting shows on Twitch, especially during the day. It's not really a popular thing right now among stay-at-home moms, but maybe we should change that. Maybe more people will tune in and join us as they get more comfortable with this newfangled streaming thing that these kids are doing. I guess it's a little odd, a little unusual for a woman my age to be streaming. But I'm young at heart, right? Okay, so this one's going to go there, but we're going to glue that one on later. I can do one more. Yeah, here, same thing here. It's either supper or dinner. It depends. My girls have choir tonight, so supper here, I believe, is going to be pizza. Something easy peasy. They've been asking for that anyway, so I'll tell them that they have a pizza my heart. I should do that. That'd be fun. But I do miss my crafting. So, and I've got D&D with the Banana Brothers. I don't really want to DM anything else. It's a lot of work DMing. Just the storyline, although I sprung some fun news on them last night. They found in a crate a bag of platinum, and we did our dice cam. We rolled to see how much was in there, a D100 to see what was in there, and I must have rolled well because 82 platinum found in this small leather pouch with a calling card inside with just a single name on it. And so now they're very confused, and that's where we ended last night's episode. So that'll be fun. It's going great. I cannot wait for them to really get into the meat of the story. They've started. They're on their way now to look for that first gem that their father tasked them with finding. The gem, the one of 5 gems that it goes into the tiara that he had. And they are on their way. They've heard rumors that it's over in the Nicosia dynasty, and that'll be interesting when they get over there. We are almost done. We just have to do the outside stitch, which is a little bit longer. I forgot it does have the blanket stitch. Maybe we'll go longer than noon. Why not? Or longer than 1, rather. Like I said, my youngest they have choir tonight, but she has chorus today after school, so she's doesn't come home on the bus. She stays. Gives me an extra hour or so of me time. Okay, so now I'm gonna start attaching the top to the bottom, and I'm gonna leave this bottom part open for stuffing. And I'm gonna do a blanket stitch on this one. If you're ever curious about some of these stitches and some of the processes I go through when I create these ornaments, you can watch some old episodes of Aunt Anne's Tree. I chose not to make it a how-to stream. I just decided to craft and have people join me, and if they want to ask questions, that's fine. If they just want to listen to the music and chill, that's fine too. So I'll say what I'm doing, but I'm not really going to go into the how-tos. I just wanted to relax. Although what's funny is I said I was gonna have a treat. I've got my treat, and have a brew, and I've got my hot cocoa, and listen to some relaxing music. But the only way I could make it work is to put it on the stream for you all to hear, and I can't hear it, so it's very quiet here, which is probably why I'm gabbing so much. That's okay. I'll turn it on again off stream while I'm working on the designs for next Wednesday and the Wednesday after that. Or maybe I'll put on some classic rock. my go-to crafting music. It is hard to see this blanket stitch, even if I did show you how to make it with this black thread on the dark gray. Typically when I make, what is this thing that keeps sticking to my thread? Typically when I work on any kind of ornament using black or dark gray materials, whether it's the felt or the thread, I try to do it in sunlight. It's much easier to see. In fact, when we made our trip, or daylight I should say, even just being outside in the daylight, we made our trip up north to Connecticut at Christmas time. It's a several hours long trip. I had my sewing with me, and definitely easier to work with when the daylight was coming in the windows. At least for my old eyes. I like 80s bands because I grew up. I was an 80s child when it comes to music. I mean, I was around in the 70s, but I was younger and didn't really. I love 70s classic rock, but I like a lot of the 80s, like Journey and Styx and U2 and I mean some of the heavier stuff too. Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith. Things that I would now call classic rock. I'm a little older than having being able to claim any kind of fondness for all the boy bands of the 90s, but I do like them too. It helps having kids of several generations. Right now I have kids who enjoy everything from, oh, who's that? Oh, can't think of the name. Who does Blurry Face? Who does the song Blurry Face? Can't think of the name of that band. Or group. I guess they call them groups now. And of course my 14-year-old likes Billie Eilish. And actually I like her too. I'm pretty open to musical suggestions. Is it totally your thing too? I love 80s rock. Is my head getting in the picture? Stitching definitely gets easier when you don't have such a long thread to work with. So as I'm working this, hopefully it'll go all the way around, so I don't stop and knot it in the middle. Yeah, I can't think of who it is. It's out. Ugh. I'd know it as soon as I heard it, and that's always the case. Okay, now I've got my ribbon that I've already created a little loop, and it's going right at the top here, and that's where the ornament hook goes. It'll come to me right after I log off the stream. Right after I stop streaming, I'll remember it. It'll come to me. I'll throw it in Discord if I think of it. But Drake likes that. He likes a bunch of stuff. He likes the dubstep stuff. Some of my more recent stuff he's introduced to me, including Nightwish and Within Temptation. Some of that more Scandinavian metal band stuff. I do like that. But I have such eclectic taste in music, because I still like stuff that my dad liked when he was younger. Well, when he was alive, like John Denver or Neil Diamond or some of those old soft rock, Peter, Paul and Mary from the 70s. "21 Pilots," yes, thank you. You know, it's funny because I knew it had a number in it. I knew it had a number. I just couldn't think of the number. My brother, Tranquil, who's one of the Banana Brothers, runs our original D&D campaign, where he's the DM, and he calls that the Blurry Face campaign. He just comes up with all these pop culture references in his games that are funny. So that is called the Blurry Face campaign. I don't think our group has a name. You know how most adventuring parties like Vox Machina or Mighty Nine have a name, or Banana Brothers. That original group that I was in with my Ranger Ronan and Naku, my dire wolf pet, I don't think we have a name. We need to come up with one. I guess it's Blurry Face. Another one that Tranquil and I co-DM. We co-DM, but we also have a character in it so that we can take turns playing and or DMing. That group is called Silent Glare, and that's a reference to the YouTuber and now cartoon mogul Olin Rogers, when he first started out with The Lion's Blaze on YouTube. It was sort of a cute little thing he did with his friend Jake that was teasing online gaming players, online gamers, and apparently one of the things that they were fighting had a ability called Silent Glare. Well, of course a glare is silent. It was funny. Okay, we have finished. I've never heard of Arctic monkeys. I'll have to look them up. Oh yeah, the Revengers. That's a great idea for a Strahd group. And don't know spoilers because I'm only chapter 1, Broom Closet, into Strahd. So, okay, we're gonna use stuffing, and I use these hemostats for stuffing to get into the corners. Although this one doesn't really have a lot of corners, and I left the needle in, the thread, and the needle in, so that I could sew it back up. I use hemostats for stuffing, or if you don't have them, you can always use a chopstick or a small dowel rod. Hemostats help because you can grip stuffing and push it into small corners. And like I said, in this case, I don't really need the tips of the hemostat because there's not a lot of small corners. Just make sure you don't stuff your needle inside like I almost did. You use them at work? What is your work? Are you a doctor? Or in the medical field? I have 2 sets. I have this one and another one, but the other one it doesn't open as well. It's kind of tight. So I need to, I don't know, somehow loosen it up. I guess there's maybe oil it. No, I don't want to oil it. I have to be careful though, because they have a dull tip, but it's still a tip that's kind of pointed there, and it will go through my stitches. And it's actually gone through my felt before. Felt is a very forgiving fabric though. It can self-heal, sorta, as long as it's just a small hole. I don't want to overstuff, but I don't want to understuff either. So it's just the right amount of stuffing. Oh, cool! Yeah. Ooh, dissections. That's awesome. Is that what you went to school to do? Or did you stumble upon this career some other way? Okay. That's nicely stuffed. I'm going to start to sew it up a little bit, and if I find that it needs a little more stuffing on the bottom, I still have room to add more if I need to. Leave the opening up a little bit. I'm having to pinch it together so that the top and bottom match up as I stitch. Nice. So you've been doing it for 5 years. That's excellent. It's a good recommendation when a teacher recommends you for something. And you did something right. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I had so many ideas. Teacher, of course. I think all little girls want to be a teacher because that's their first role model, as a teacher at school. Then I wanted to get into social sciences and politics, and then accounting at one point. I think I wanted to be an accountant, and I am good at math, but I settled on paralegal, settled on the law. And I really, really, really enjoyed doing it while I worked. But I also knew that it would be good for our family to stay at home with my young kids. Although that's going to be ending soon. They're getting old enough to not need me at home full time. So I am probably in the next year or so going to have to start looking for work again in the paralegal field. But I enjoy it, so that's okay with me. Legal research and writing was my favorite class, which is funny because my instructor said that it wasn't something that everybody liked to do. Okay, I'm making my stitch disappear into the end. I'm going to get rid of any little fuzzies and find my needle. Here it is. Always make sure you put your needles away. Okay, so now is the fun part. Now we just put them together. Got his little, this goes on the side. And see what I mean about him becoming three-dimensional? You want to make sure that if you had sewn that on, it may not have turned out as nicely, being able to kind of shape it to where you want it. But yet the stitch is still there. So I'm going to glue that there with the glue gun. And then this one here. And then the little bow, and then we're done. I think I like it there. All right, so let's make sure I have the right sides and the knots in the back, because I don't want to do the wrong one. Okay. Oh, you know what? I need more glue sticks. Where did I put my glue sticks? Okay, there. I keep bottles of glue sticks everywhere. Jars, I should say. Yeah, put one in. This is their newest model, the wireless. And it'll stay charged for about an hour, but I keep it on the stand anyway, plugged in. And it's the fine tip one. I'm just gonna go along the stitch, not to the edge, because you don't want it to squirt out at all. Okay. And now doesn't it look like I glued it on there? I mean, doesn't of course it does. I glued it. Doesn't look like I stitched it on there. Yeah. Shh, don't tell anybody. And that one goes there. Gotta kind of be quick because this stuff dries very fast. You want to apply it as soon as possible. Perfect. Okay. No, I don't like it there. And if it's there, it doesn't look like a heart, so I like it where I had it, right in the middle. Well, right just below the top. And this one looks like a bow tie, and I don't want to do that. It hides the heart. Right there is good. And I could stitch that, but I'm just going to glue it since I have my glue gun ready to go. And this is just, I believe it's just 3/8 ribbon, 3/8 wide ribbon. And I just got a plaid that sort of matched that country look I was going for. And the red in the beak. Or the red in the heart and the beige in the beak. And there we have it! Our little Valentine penguin is done! What do you guys think? Thank you all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those who are here. Blizzard, you are a blessing to have today. I really appreciate you tuning in and chatting with me. And I look forward to seeing everyone at our next week show. I don't know what it's going to be. Probably that pizza I was joking about earlier, a Valentine pizza. So you can tell your loved one that they have a pizza your heart. Or I don't know, I'll come up with something else. All right, have a good afternoon, everybody, and we'll see you next time.